Hello and welcome to the Bodysurf Podcast with your budgie boys, Tim and Owie. And Owie, we have a very special guest all the way from the sunny...
Where it is sunny, the state that it is sunny in, the Sunshine State.
The Sunshine State.
Keep going.
The Smart State, apparently. That's what they think they're called.
Who gave him that title?
They gave them themselves.
You can't call yourself the smart. That's like calling yourself Big Dog.
Yeah. Well.
Hamish, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on. And
it's the Gold Coast.
Yes. I was trying to think of the Chappelle Corby lyrics.
Yeah. Oh, she's in Queensland where it is sunny.
Yes.
Of course.
Always sunny.
Do you have that, by the way? See, these are the things that we need Wolfo here for, because he could just go, all right, I'm in Queensland where it is sunny, Chappelle Corby. Have you heard? You've heard this before?
Get your Chappelle Corby bits ready.
Yeah, well, that's right. Hamish,
you should have him in your pocket.
Yeah, you've spent time with Chappelle Corby, I'm sure.
Maybe not. Put that on the record, but
yeah. We've all bodyboarded here before.
Yeah, we
all have,
of course.
But really good to have you in the studio, mate. Thank you. You didn't fly in. You drove down.
Sure did. How long was the... get right up into that microphone.
Right up into it. Well, I left this morning at 3:30 Queensland time, and I kind of got here maybe, 8 o'clock now, maybe half an hour ago. So do the maths there quite a bit.
How's the 1 hour time difference treating you? Like, do you have many friends in New South Wales that you text and you've got to be mindful of the time difference?
Well, it is only 1 hour, but my whole family lives down here. So, yeah, you kind of do get used to it, thinking about it. But it's a bit annoying when you're driving down from the Gold Coast because you lose a whole hour before you've even really started driving. So, yeah.
Jesse Mawson from the Budgie Boys asked me once what the time difference was in Canberra. Well, there's no time difference.
Might be back in the 1980s. Who knows?
There could have been. Yeah, that's right. Now, Hamish, I know it's a huge drive, but you've come down from sunny Queensland, where it is sunny, and we were just chatting off air about what time the sun actually gets up in Queensland, because we're currently in daylight savings time now. New South Wales abides by the daylight savings. Queensland does not.
Opposes it, I think you could say.
Yeah, because it's the farmers, right? It's
of
about
course,
the cows.
Something like that. The cows don't like the sun coming up because it causes the cows not to be happy.
We've talked about this before on the podcast, I'm sure. The farmers get upset about the cows coming because they go to milk and they go to milk at the same time every day. So if there's daylight savings and the cows they want to get milk 3:30 in the morning, it's ready to go.
It's the cows, man.
It's the
Just
cows.
blame the cows.
Cows.
The sun gets up at about what? I think it's 10 to 5 in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, so pretty early.
That's early, mate. But that's good for you because, I mean, up there you can, as you just said before we hit record, you can get a surf in before work.
Sure can, yeah.
And so how has the surf been up there? Because I know it's a bit hit and miss at this time of year.
Totally.
Cyclone swell's good.
Yeah, well, just reading online, actually, there might be a cyclone coming in the coming weeks. I'm not entirely sure about that. But, yeah, bit touch and go at this time of year. It can be good. I got a good surf in the other morning, pretty clean before the southerly wind came up. But, yeah, it's kind of rock up to the beach, see what it's like, and, yeah, if you get a surf in, it's all good.
And, Timmy, Hamish is one of the biggest fans of the podcast. And we were talking about who to get on as one of our last guests of the year, and we thought, why not get one of our biggest supporters from day dot, really, way back when. And first member of the Patreon.
How did you first hear about not the Patreon, because I don't know how you did that one. You were a member before I had even signed up myself. How did you first hear about the Bodysurf Podcast? I guess the community was somewhat intact. The Budgie Boys kind of emerged out of nowhere, and then this podcast came out a few years later. Did you know of us before the podcast?
I think it probably came through surfing with guys at the beach that had listened to it, I guess, through Instagram. I don't really know. It's been a while now that it's just kind of evolved, and I guess it feels like it's just always been there. It's like part of the family.
Well, this is our third season. We've been doing it for 3 years. We've had some big names on, and we also did a very fun episode at Urban Surf, which you were a part of. And
Sure did.
we kind of got you on then,
Very
but
quickly, yeah.
not in an official capacity. Today is your headlining event. You're the big guest, the big dog on the show today. But we thought we might revisit that interview we did with you. And Owie, I want your input in this one because there's going to be a quiz.
Okay, yeah, I'll listen intently to
All right,
fire that.
Take a listen to this audio. You've got a few waves.
Yeah, just about the big waves of Tullamarine.
Yes, that's right. So you went right and then you've gone left.
Yeah.
We've asked this question to everyone. What was your favourite?
Oh, I don't know. Like the right, I prefer a right because I'm right-handed and it kind of lends itself better. But the left, I think I had more fun because it was the second session and we kind of got a bit more used to the waves and how it worked and kind of understood where to sit and, you know, it was a bit easier to catch the waves and I got a bit, you know, I got through one of the barrels.
So do you surf tickler on the left? Or
No way. Tickler? Come on.
No way.
Are you familiar with the term tickler?
I'm definitely familiar with the term
Yeah,
tickler.
that's right.
I think
I saw a few ticklers out there today.
lazy boy surfing.
Oh, whoa. I think Benny was
Big
chucking
calls.
a tickler before.
Nothing wrong with a
I
tickler.
give him a lot about it when
Oh,
we're out in
did
the
ya?
surf.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Now, I guess we've never had you on the podcast, Hamish.
No.
We wanted to have a chat to you for a while, so I guess we should
long-time
ask
listener,
you.
first-time caller, hey?
We've got a lot of them.
Please do call. We're going to start
Yes,
doing Monday Night Live.
Do you like the new gear?
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah,
I can't believe you can...
Now, this is the first time we've actually used the power pack, so we're not plugged into anything. We can
Wireless.
just take this anywhere.
This is the future. This is 2020.
This is it.
The battery's dead.
There's actually a bit of water on that. We should be careful of that. But Hamish, this is the first time on the podcast, so I guess we should ask you what's in your floppy bucket. That was your first time on the podcast. You're back now. I would like you to maybe answer that question again, but before you do, Owie, do you remember what was in Hamish's floppy bucket?
I've got no idea. And
Honestly, neither do I.
well, Tim, do you have the audio of what's in his floppy bucket? Let's see if it's going to match up. That's going to be good. Or we'll actually ask Hamish now, and we'll patch her up, and we'll see whether. Don't play it yet. Because if you play it now, then the
ruins the
the
surprise.
gag wouldn't work.
The gag is that he doesn't have a floppy bucket. Take a listen to this.
It's non-existent. I don't have a floppy
Oh,
bucket.
yeah, that's the hard bucket.
You have the Queensland.
I don't even have a hard bucket.
So what do you take? Just
I got a four-wheel drive, so I got the slide-out drawers at the back. They're my,
That's so fancy.
yeah.
And I don't have the audio of what's actually in his floppy bucket. So I hope you remember, Hamish. What's in your floppy bucket, mate?
Oh, I think I got all the slide boards now. I don't think back then I did. I think 2 bullers, fish, a wedge, and a grom as well. I've also got some Defins, 2 pairs, and a pair of yuccas I got not too long ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What yuccas did you get?
Well, that's a good question. I think they're the Soft Flex in double XL, which is just a little bit too big for me. Not entirely sold on them yet, to be honest. Yeah, it's still like kind of feels like going home when I put the fins back on. So yeah.
Yeah, right.
There's a few yuccas going around these days,
Yeah,
and
everyone's
they're
getting
getting
into
some
it.
pretty good reviews.
I've been using the yuccas quite a lot. I like how they kick quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know if you found that, Hamish.
I don't think I could get over the softer bottom of the foot pocket compared to the fins kind of have the harder pocket, and I feel like I just get a bit more power out
Okay.
of them. But in saying that, I do have the softer yuccas, so it could be different with some stiffer ones. Yeah.
Now, Timmy, I thought you were going to ask me a few questions about the Urban Surf interview, so I was like looking, he's right-handed. He likes going right, not left.
It's like when you're playing trivia, they go, "Watch this movie clip." And then at the end they go, "What colour was the scarf?" And you're like, "Oh, I wasn't looking at the scarf."
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't want to test you too much, but yeah, it's interesting. You've accumulated a few new boards. It sounds like. What's your favourite?
I'm going to say the wedge. I know it's a bit of a contentious topic because a lot of people think it's a bit too big, but it's a great board. Like it's a real cracker once you get to learn to use it. I think that's my favourite now.
Do you use the Grom much these days?
I didn't use it so much, but it is fun. It's just fun to really have a mess around. I think not too long ago I was out with Trav and we were trying to do almost like board transfers, or you jump off a surfboard and try and, I mean, the surf was half a foot, so it didn't work. But yeah, it's good to just mess around with the Grom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And have you ever done the double Grom?
I have not. That's on my to-do list for sure. Yeah.
That's on your bucket list, your floppy bucket list.
Floppy bucket list.
Not your hard bucket list. See, now do a hard bucket. I'm not too sold on it.
Now, what time do the Goldie Sliders meet on a Saturday morning?
We've gotten a bit slack. It's back to 6 o'clock in the morning now. I think we used to have our summer meets used to start at 5:30
Wow.
or even 5 o'clock. Just because, again, the sun's up so early in the morning that you just take advantage of it before any kind of wind or anything comes in, so get out early. And since COVID, it's been really crowded in the water.
Really?
Like a lot busier.
Why is that?
I don't know. I guess a lot of people just trying to get outside, get in the water, having fun. And, you know, even over winter when it normally quietens down, it was still consistently busy most Saturday mornings, car park parked out early in the morning. But, yeah, it's good to share, but it's also good to have your own wave to yourself.
Now, how are the slidey boys going?
Slidey boys?
The slidey boys.
The Goldie Slideys.
No, the Goldie Slidey boys. I didn't want to call them the Goldie Sliders because I get the Goldie Sliders all the time. The Slidey boys, I'll call them. And I obviously we've been chatting a little bit about Svensson and a couple of the other boys that aren't vaccinated. And you know what? They're more than entitled to do that. And before we came on, we said, listen, we're not going to won't throw Hamish under the bus. I just want to know how they're going.
They're going well
because I haven't heard from them. You know, like are they still vibing the podcast? They're out. They don't like us anymore.
They're still listening.
Okay.
They're still listening. They're still there. No, we had a good surf the last weekend or the weekend before. I don't even think it was a meet. We just kind of all rocked up down at the beach, and there would have been 10 or 15 of us in the water. Good core crew, and people coming from Brisbane, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think everyone's doing well. Over winter, it got a bit quiet. There are a few kind of core people, me, Ben, and kind of.
And the reason I ask that is because I guess for us here in the Shire, all of our crew is vaccinated. We're sweet. Where we're seeing eye to eye on the same thing. But the great thing about body surfing is that you can bring in people from heaps of different walks of life, different thoughts, different beliefs. Yeah. You chuck them in the water and all of that goes away.
Yeah,
you know?
It's great.
And I thought it was really cool what you said before we went on air. And you were just saying, listen, I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to rev anyone up. I don't want to...
Because going to the beach it's not about talking about what's going on. You know, a lot of people actually use the beach as a refuge from what else is going on in their life, because when you're out in the water, you're not thinking about anything else. You're thinking about scoring that perfect wave. And that's what I like to bring out in the water, is to make sure everyone's having fun and just talk about what's going on in the water. That's the best thing to do. And being out there with your mates, there's nothing better.
Yeah, that's right.
Our meetups sometimes get a bit controversial, though, and a lot of people like to bring up some issues, whether it be about vaccination or euthanasia or anything.
All the light topics.
We get deep, and we have some conflicting thoughts and opinions that get out there. But you're right. I think you can't stay mad at someone too long when you're getting pitted. So
that's it.
At the end of the day, it's the great equalizer, and we're all in this together. I just hope that they're not going to be disadvantaged in any way, because there's some really cool things coming up. Yeah. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to travel, or if we travel to Queensland, are we going to be able to hang out?
Yeah.
Well, mate, what if we do the 100th episode? We're having it at the Chippo, and Chippo's got a QR code, mate. You're not vaccinated, you're not getting in. I'm sorry, boys. I'm sorry, boys. I want you to come. I really want you to come, but you can't come.
And look, it's going to be hard for a lot of those sort of people. But then again, as I said, going down to the beach, that's still not affected. Everyone can come down to the beach and have a good time and just catch waves.
Very diplomatic of you, Hamish. No,
that's be a politician. No, for the record,
you've got a face for it.
How is your Premier going? Because ours is in a bit of trouble. Dom's okay. Sorry, our new Premier, our former Premier, got into a little bit of corruption.
Who doesn't?
But here's the thing. And let's just sidetrack from body surfing for a moment. Just a moment.
As the Bodysurf Podcast.
No, whoa. 80 episodes in, I don't think we've ever not chatted body surfing before. Wagga Wagga's a shithole. Let's be fair, right? You guys
gotta
haven't been
do
there?
something.
Have
Come
you
on.
been there?
No.
Have you been there, Tim?
The town's so nice they named it twice. I have not been to Wagga Wagga, but it is on my floppy bucket
Now,
list for sure.
let me just say one thing. Wagga Wagga's got a beach.
Oh,
Wagga Wagga Beach. If you Google Wagga Wagga Beach, there's a Wagga Wagga Beach tourist park, right? Wagga Wagga's not near the ocean. There is a river that runs through it, and all the locals will say, "Oh yeah, 5 o'clock wave. 5 o'clock wave stinks."
Steve goes and chops laps in his V8.
Yeah, that's right. But the 5 o'clock wave is how the locals describe it to you: is that the dam upstream will release its flow at 5 o'clock, and you can catch a wave there.
Oh, there you go.
And it's a great gag for the locals, right? All of us punters go, "Yeah, we're there for the 5 o'clock."
do
wave."
their
It's not
local radio station do a surf report every morning?
They should. See, why aren't we in Wagga? Anyway, why I'm talking about Wagga is that Gladys approved funds for the town of Wagga to have a shooting range. Who cares? Really, who cares at the end of the day? Like, the place is a shithole. It needs all the funding it can get. So what if your boyfriend said, "Listen, I need to get this through"? It doesn't matter.
So what if you're the premier of a state and you can make that happen?
It's just pork barreling. It's been happening from day dot.
I don't think Wagga should have a shooting range, if you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
a depressed town.
Yeah, that's right. You're very right there.
But yeah, our former Premier Gladys Berejiklian has left the top job, and we got this new bloke in who's keeping pretty quiet, I think.
I don't like him.
saying it now, putting it out there.
I thought he'd be right up your alley, but
Nah,
he's got the 7 or 8 kids, and
I'm super sus on him, mate. Really sus. Like, he's just he kind of said like knight in shining armor, but no,
I just think
sus.
Gladys was all over COVID. Would see her every day, 11 a.m. She's coming out doing a little Gladys show. It was great. This guy hasn't had anything to do with COVID. Does he even believe in COVID?
Mate, he's Catholic. He doesn't believe in condoms, let alone COVID.
So yeah, how is your Premier handling everything at the moment?
Oh, look, who knows? So the border's reopening, which is good.
Who knows?
So that's why I'm here. That's why I can come to Sydney. I can get back to Queensland, which is always good. It's been, 7 months since I was last down here? So didn't know I grew up in Sydney. I've moved up to Queensland. And it's nice to come back and visit family. And
is it risky? There was a small outbreak at the Oxford Tavern, one of our favourite watering holes. I think 20 to 40 people are now infected. If you get something, you had to check into the studio and you're doing everything right. But if you get something, could you get stuck in New South Wales?
Yeah, so to get back to Queensland as it stands at the moment, and, it changes with, as the minute hand moves around the clock, but as it stands at the moment, I've got to get a test just before I leave New South Wales, so within 72 hours, 3 days, and that has to come back negative. So obviously if you're not negative, you're not getting back to Queensland. And if that is negative, you can get across the border as long as you're fully vaccinated, and then once you're in Queensland, on the 5th day you return, you've got to get another test and get that negative, otherwise you go into quarantine for who knows how long, could be forever.
And they could put you in the Islander in the Gold Coast.
That's
and you don't want to stay
probably worse than quarantine forever.
Yeah. Then you have to do another 14 days when you get out of the place.
So that's what I think,
Now, Hamish, we should talk a little bit more about you as a person, because this is normally what we do when we have a guest on. We don't just talk rubbish. We talk about you as a human being.
That's good.
And so I want to ask, as a little Grom, what got you into the ocean? What got you into body surfing?
What got me into the ocean? Oh, well, I grew up near the beach. What got me into body surfing? I think body surfing is kind of, for a lot of kids that grow up at the beach, it's kind of just something that evolves as you go through. Did a bit of surf life saving when I was younger.
You've got the clubby body.
I am. I do work for surf life saving at the moment. I did, once I left school, got a lot more involved in surf life saving and kind of evolved from that way. I think body surfing was just something that you kind of did, and it was a secondary thing. And then all of a sudden I discovered a handboard and started using it and got interested in it, and then searched some stuff on Instagram, and all of a sudden I found that there's other people that do it, as I think a lot of people come that way, and then started following people. And then when I moved up to the Gold Coast, didn't really know anyone up there, didn't have any family up there, didn't know what to do on the weekends, and kind of just searched body surfing Gold Coast, and then I found Goldie Sliders, and I was like, oh, they'll be right down the other end of the Gold Coast. They won't want to see me. And it turned out it was 5 minutes away from home. I rocked up, and I think it was Simon was the first one that came over to me.
Oh,
and
jeez.
he gave me a big welcome handshake, and he said, oh, you're here for body surfing, are you? And then the rest was history. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was that first hand play that got you into it? And where did you find it? Did you buy it? Did you make it?
I think I may have mentioned it when I was down at Urban Surf. I saw, because I used to live near Manly, and I don't know if it was Ricky that was at the Manly markets, but I know it was War Hand Planes. And I saw them there, and I went, and sorry, Ricky, they're a bit too expensive for me at the moment. I'm sure I could do it.
You'll wait till their Black Friday 75% sale.
Yeah, exactly.
The Budgie Boys 20% discount.
Was I wrong? And I went to Bunnings, as you do. Went to the timber section. No idea about timbers and what type of timber works better and what's heavier and lighter. I think I got a step. It was like an outdoor garden step. 1 inch thick, about 1 foot wide and 2 foot long, and cut the shape of a hand plane out of it. And then didn't do much else.
No strap or anything?
Put an old belt with screws in either side of
Have
it.
you still got this relic?
Yes, I do. It's at home, and I'll send a photo.
Let's give it away.
Why not? I'm pretty sure it's covered in mould. So you might.
I don't want to give away your family heirloom.
Oh yeah, definitely. And anyway, I took it down to the beach that afternoon and realised that something does happen when you put 2 kilos of treated pine into the water.
Yeah, what?
Not much, but it was fun. And yeah, kind of went from there. And that was probably, I'd say 6 months, maybe a year before I moved to the Gold Coast, and then moved up the Gold Coast, and I showed them my homemade creation, got laughed at a little bit, but it worked. And got a couple of good photos with it, actually.
Oh, cool.
Can you send us some of those photos?
I can definitely send some of the photos. It's actually, I don't think it's still my Instagram profile photo, but it's a good photo that a photographer up there got of me right in the barrel with it. And you wouldn't be able to tell, but it's this big chunky bit of pine. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then obviously met Trav, slide handboards, and started, getting some of his boards in, and went on from there.
Did your handboard have a name?
No, but I'm going to call it the Wet Woody.
The Wetwood.
The Wetwood.
Wetwood.
You've been in my search history, man. I was going to call it the autoerotic asphyxiation because it's got the old belt attached to it. Put some lemon on there. a bit of leather belt.
The Michael Hutchins.
You know, that's a rumour.
No,
So
it's not a
what
rumour.
happened? I don't know if you know this. The lead singer of NXS committed suicide.
Australia's greatest export.
One of the best bands of all time. Yeah, he committed suicide, and he had a young daughter, Tiger Lily. And
Was it Tiger?
Yeah, his daughter's name was Tiger Lily.
Oh,
yeah.
it's not the Tiger.
No,
not the
that's
DJ.
Tiger Lily. No.
Oh, okay.
She grew up to be one of the best DJs Australia have ever seen.
Didn't you know it?
Yes, so they didn't want to scare Tiger Lily and say your dad's killed himself. So they go, he was doing some stuff with a belt while he was
worse?
Yeah. So they made up this horrible rumor, which isn't true at all, to break the news to his daughter.
I know that we talk about this, but do other people talk about
That's the
that?
hot take.
Is that like we know that that's what happened, but do other people know that that's what happened?
Well, I think the rumor's so deep, everyone kind of just believes it.
Yeah, right.
And, he did pass away. That is a fact.
Yeah.
How it happened is up for debate, I guess.
Have
but
you seen him?
Yeah, well, no, that's right. Yeah. Well, anyway, less Michael Hutchins chat, more body surf chat. Let's rope it back in a little bit. So you've made the Hutchins.
Yeah.
And you got a couple of waves with it. What made you put it down? So I know that you kind of saw War hand planes. You go a little bit too expensive. When you found out that maybe War was an okay price, why didn't you go and just buy one? So how come you've gone more to slide?
Well, I didn't put it down until I knew Trav, and a lot of the Goldie sliders were using slide boards at the time, and I think it kind of just evolves that way, and you get used to what you're around with. And I think the reason I put it down was it probably weighed 2 kilos and was soaked full of water, as treated pine tends to do when you take it out into the ocean. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We've got a pine forest up on the farm where we're working. It's just sitting there. So pine's not a good wood to use for a hand plane. Too heavy.
Wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, okay. Particularly treated pine as well. Probably not the best product, but it's readily available. You can get it from Bunnings. So
well, there you go.
What was the first slide board you bought?
It was a Buller. Because at the time on the Gold Coast, it was kind of that we got like a honeymoon period between sort of the end of March and early June, where the swell just comes through fairly consistently, and everyone is getting out, getting barrel and all this sort of stuff, and they're saying, oh, you need to get a proper board. And the Buller was kind of the board that fit the purpose at that point in time, and just went for that.
Nice. How hot does it get in Queensland, and what's the warmest the water's ever been for you?
Well, I think it was about 25 yesterday.
20.
The water.
Oh, the water.
In the water.
I thought you meant the temperature.
In the water. Yep.
Because it's...
I think the temperature yesterday is 32, 33 degrees.
Goodness.
Yeah. So big difference coming down here to 16 and raining.
Yeah. Because when we went to Urban Surf, that was in Melbourne, Victoria, you were wearing a wetsuit?
I wore a wetsuit for the first session and then decided it probably wasn't.
Because my biggest issue with that was we had a plane to catch that afternoon. And what do you do with a soaking wet wetsuit?
Well, I didn't really think about that. Luckily, by the time we got on the plane, it had dried out because it was a nice sunny day. So that worked out for me. But yeah, I don't really know what it would have done. I know that when Ben came to Sydney for Wompoff, the last Wompoff that happened in 2019, he brung his spring suit down, wore it, surfed with it, and then was flying back that night. And he got all the way to the gate and Jetstar doing their thing where they get your bag and weigh it and tell you can't come on because your bag's too heavy, or you got to pay $47 or something like that. And it turns out his wetsuit was still wet and it was too heavy.
Yeah.
And there was a wetsuit in the bin at Sydney Airport.
Oh,
so
really?
he threw it away. Yeah.
Oh, he should have told me. I would have been up there in a second. Mate.
I think it was a bit of an old one. He was ready for a replacement anyway. But yeah, I think that's what you got to do. Just chuck it in the bin at the airport.
Would you go to Urban Surf again?
I think I would. I think I'm pretty ready to again. If you'd asked me that question the day of Urban Surf, I probably would have said to you, maybe not. But I think I'm ready for it to go again.
Well, what was your tracker on that day? Because I remember chatting to you after we interviewed you, and you were like, I did like 30 kilometres of swimming or something.
Yeah, I think in the first session alone, I got an Apple Watch, and there's an app on there that allows you to track the waves based on movement, and I don't know, it does a bit
Someone's
of wizardry.
doing well for himself.
And it tracks how many waves you get, and I think by the end of the first session I was on 30, and by the end of the fourth session I had no battery left. So it was quite a lot of waves, and it's a good workout down there. And the first time I've ever slept in economy class on a plane was the way home from there, because I was cooked.
Yeah. What do you think of the Victorian Premier?
Dan Andrews? We're getting political tonight. Honest thoughts? I don't know. I don't get political too regularly.
Well, I just think Melbourne and Victoria have copped it the most, haven't they?
Course,
out of all the
They've
states.
had hard times.
So I wouldn't be going. I would love to go to Urban Surf again, and we're actually getting one in Sydney.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be ready for
not for us.
2
I saw an article on that. Yeah,
2 years.
I think they
maybe?
said 2023 at the end of that. So 2 years. Yeah.
So that's exciting. But yeah, I would love to go back to Urban Surf Melbourne, but Melbourne's a tricky place to go right now.
See, the benefit for us coming from the Gold Coast is that because it's so close to the airport at Melbourne, it's so easy for us to catch a flight from the Gold Coast to the airport in Melbourne, go and surf at the airport, turn around, go home that afternoon. Whereas in Sydney, I think it's the Olympic Park they're putting it at somewhere there. So if we were to come from the Gold Coast, obviously it's probably going to take us longer to get to the one here than it would to go down to Melbourne. So as an option, Melbourne's pretty convenient, although there are quite a lot of talks that there will be another, I don't think it's Urban Surf, but another wave pool going in the northern area of the Gold Coast. But there's always talks of that sort of thing, yeah.
Now, if they were going to do a body surf competition at a wave pool, how do you think it would go?
I know how it should be judged. It should be judged on who has the most fun. I reckon that would be a great competition.
How do you get that on the Apple Watch?
Doesn't matter. It's just whoever comes out with the biggest smile. I reckon that would be a great competition. Even if it's just a segment in a competition, just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, wuss bets is what we call it.
Surely Simon Sven's winning that. He's always got the biggest smile.
Look, there's some good competitors coming from the Goldie team for smiles at the end of the barrel. But yeah, I think that'd be an interesting competition element to add there. Just kind of not so much about who gets the best wave in terms of how it looks, because everyone's at a different skill level, obviously. But if someone who, say, hasn't ever gotten a barrel before just gets spit out of a barrel at Urban Surf, I think that's the winner of the day.
How do you feel about the consistency? Because every wave's very similar.
It is very similar, yeah.
And that's sort of like how you win body surf contests, by picking the best wave.
Yeah, it'd be difficult. I've never really thought about that, how that element would add into it. But they run surf comps there, and I think there's enough differentiation in the way people maneuver on the wave and things like that. I think you'd have at least something interesting to watch. If not, there's a restaurant there now. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you talk about a wave pool going in on the Gold Coast. I mean, you've got Yiew, it's not up the road, but it's in the same state.
It's about the same distance to Sydney.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know. But I mean, to get on a flight and get up to, it's going to be a flight anyway. Yeah. On the Gold Coast, you guys have like limitless world-class waves up there. Do you really need a wave pool?
Oh, well, it depends how crowded it is, because someone like Snapper or something like that can get 300, 400 people out there. And as a body surfer, I'm sure you know, you're not getting any waves and there's that many people out there. You just, not just the fact that people will drop in on you, it's just the fact that people don't see you in that sort of crowd. And we've tried to surf Snapper a couple of times when it's good, and it's really difficult for A, just surfers to see you, and B, just to get a wave. And a good day at Snapper, if you get 2 or 3 waves, you're having a good day. So, and that's when you're surfing. So it's different body surfing. But I think the best thing about like a wave pool, if you've got a big enough group, you can book out the whole side and just have it only body surfers, and everyone gets waves. No one gets dropped in on or chopped up or whatever. So yes, we do have some great waves, but it'd also be cool to have a wave pool there.
Well, Super Biscuit, I mean, booking out
heard the story?
Booking out the Kelly Slater wave pool for just like $3,000 US dollars. Like,
expensive.
It's just outrageous amounts of money. Our wave pools aren't as good as the Kelly Slater one, but I mean, it's not too hard to get a group, as you said, get down there. I reckon a comp at a wave pool would be really fun. I think it would be probably better than a surf comp there, because the wave height is probably better for body surfing than it is for stand-up surfing. Speaking of some of the waves, the world-class waves that you have on the Gold Coast, is your favourite break up there? Do you have a favourite break there, or is your personal all-time favourite break somewhere else?
No, there's some really good waves there. There's a couple of beaches. D-Bar is pretty good for body surfing. Again, it gets pretty busy down there. You've also got a little beach in between D-Bar and Snapper called Froggy's Beach, and I know the boys are actually going there tomorrow morning, and I'm pretty jealous of it. But it's kind of just, I'm not going to call it the Goldie Cape, but it's kind of like very shallow sand and right onto rocks, and that can be when the sand's right, and that's where the sand bypass pump that creates Snapper and the wave there, that's where all the sand actually comes out. So if they've been pumping the sand there correctly, it can be a great wave there. Shallow, but good fun. And we've also got South Stradbroke, not North Stradbroke. And that, again, can be crowded, but you can get some really good waves there too. Yeah.
Now, how do you get to South Straddy? Are you swimming over the channel?
We've paddled across before, but there are particular people within the Goldie Sliders team that have boats and will pop us around, which makes it a lot easier than the paddle across, because the main problem across the seaway is not sharks, which a lot of people think it is. It's actually jet skis. It's the jet skis and the boats that are coming out, just ripping through there. And because you're so small going through the water, and I don't think I'd ever swim across. I think I'd have to take a board to go across. But because you're so small in the water, you just don't get seen by jet skis. And particularly if there's surf coming through there, they're jumping off the back of waves and things like that, and you don't get seen. But I don't think there's been anyone been hurt for a while in there.
For a while.
But it's quite a considerable part. It's probably 300 or 400 meters, and if the tide's moving, it'll move you. It'll take you almost a kilometre out.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, it's not good, but it's worth it on the other side.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, how committed are the Goldie Sliders to finding a good wave? Because obviously, you know my story. I'll drive around to every single wave I can possibly get to before I'll jump in.
Well, we actually had a discussion about this. Simon brought it up the other day. We were sitting out, and it was pretty clean, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was maybe Jana maybe said it, or I can't remember. Someone said, "Oh, it'd be so good over at Stratty right now," and Simon went, "Oh, here we go again. Always saying it'd always be better everywhere else. You guys would never get a wave if you had your minds didn't make your minds up." So, a lot of them are pretty committed to hitting the slab, the same spot every single time, no matter what, because a lot of the Gold Coast, because it's such a long, straight beach, you pretty much find a bank, and that bank's going to be replicated. I mean, you might get a couple of better ones, but it's going to be replicated up and down the beach. So you can travel, 20 kilometres down the beach and you're still getting the same waves. So being committed to that one spot, we all kind of rock up the same spot, and if it's really rubbish, we'll probably just call it and go home. But I would say we probably have a 90% hit rate on getting out there in the mornings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Better than ours.
Well, yeah. We have the problem like that as well, Tim, where it's kind of there's half of the group that want to go and find somewhere.
Yeah.
And the other half of the group that's just happy to meet up at the same spot every week. If it's half decent, we jump in. If it's crap, we go for a bacon egg roll.
Yeah.
If it's really good, Bondi doesn't go in, we go in. Bondi stays
Good old Bondi.
But that's the problem we have, where it's like, well, what is fundamental? And I've got to just get to the core of it. I think 2021's our year, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to find out to the core what body surfing is. Is it body surfing or is it the meetup? And what's more important? What is more important?
Breakfast.
I've been posting a lot of content.
Yeah.
A lot of the UK guys, they just meet up.
Yeah.
They got the world's worst waves over there, literally, and they just love it.
Yeah.
I think some of the time, as you know, it is the group that you're there with, but when you're kind of hesitating about where you're going to go or getting in the water, a lot of the time it's just get in the water, no matter what it is. If you get in the water, you're probably going to have fun.
regret.
Exactly. You're probably going to have fun, and if you don't, you've got a bacon and egg roll waiting for you.
Do you smash a bacon and egg roll after a surf?
Now, we used to. And that was when Daryl would come up from northern New South Wales. He was a big leader in that. We used to go and get a bacon and egg roll. But since COVID kind of rolled around, a lot of because where we surf, and you guys have been there for the Slide Fest, and there's not really much there. So there's no kiosk or anything to go and get a bacon and egg roll. There is a couple of shops down the road that we used to go to, but that kind of fell off, and sometimes we do, but not so much as a group anymore. Yeah,
That's sad.
it is a bit sad. There was a good element of that. Yeah, so we're going to bring it back.
2019 was the last Womp Off, the last time we competed against you as a collective. Goldie Sliders did very well. I predicted that you were gonna smash it, and I think you probably surprised yourself.
I think we did.
What did you end up coming at Womp Off 2019?
5th place.
That's insane. That was such a great result. Congratulations.
We'll never forget it.
Yeah.
We won't repeat it again. I don't know.
We've sort of said as a group, if we ever win or even get close to winning, we're all getting matching tattoos. Would you ever get a Goldie Sliders tattoo?
Ooh. If we win Womp Off and the others say yes to it, yeah.
He will.
Yeah.
He's going to get one.
The conditions, we win Womp Off, and the 10 people in the team say yes to it as well.
I reckon you'd get pretty close to all 10 agreeing.
Yeah, I think so. If we win it, I think it'd be a fairly momentous occasion.
It's our Olympics, and you always see athletes, even if they don't do that well at the Olympics, just if they attend, they get the Olympic rings tattooed on them. And I think we should get something similar to...
I don't see why not. Yeah.
Now, Hamish, a couple of things I want to ask about you as a body surfer. You're a quite well-built man.
Thank you.
that doesn't really kind of carry over to a lot of the body surfing community. So we've got a rare opportunity here, Tim, to actually talk to someone who's got a good physique. And I've watched you surf, when I have watched you surf, and you just look like you're in control of what's going on. Where I find a lot of the times when we surf, Tim, the ocean's in control. How does it feel to actually be in control of what you're doing when you're body surfing?
I wouldn't exactly call it control. I think having fun and maybe a bit of control, and I don't know. It is, you put me on the spot, but I think
that's normally what we do on the podcast.
No, I think just getting out in the water and getting there consistently is the key. It was like Italo Ferreira said that the key to his surfing is just getting out in anything. Yeah. And I think I just enjoy going out in any surf. I mean, if it's 40 knots southerly, probably not going to go. But, if it's just a bit of chop or something like that, it's good to get out and just experience all different types of waves, because then the days you do get good waves, it gets even better.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. Yeah. Because I've got the stand-up mentality is that it can be shocking and they'll still go out. Let's see it. The ocean's littered with stand-up surfers and it's a foot and onshore. And I'm like, man,
but what are you doing out there? You don't know what it's going to be like if you don't go.
Well, you can. There's literally a surf forecast. Well, and for me, I go, oh,
but how many times has the surf forecast lied?
Yeah, it does lie. It does lie.
Yeah, it does lie. Surf lie.
Yeah, it's surf lie. That's right. It's not truth all the time. And it's only truth in your perspective of truth.
I mean, look, there are days that I definitely turn up and just go, no.
Yeah.
But, if it isn't looking perfect, it's not getting any better, you may as well get out there. That's my kind of philosophy on it, yeah.
Okay. So on the days that are heaving, like really big days, the biggest days you can think of where you're like, oh, it's real touch and go here. With obviously you go out, but it's like now it's getting in dangerous territory.
We've had a couple of cyclone swells come through that it's been a bit like that. But look, if it is, obviously with a lot of the surf life saving I do, I can read the surf pretty well from the beach. So if I do think it's going to be too dangerous, or say one thing on the Gold Coast is the sweep. That's the thing that'll get you the most. If you got a big southerly swell, we've gone out and been swept north 3-4 kilometres up the beach and end up there, and you kind of just surf the banks in between. But if it's going to be too dangerous, obviously there's a risk assessment in your head. You don't go. But again, if you don't go, you don't know.
That's right. Now, so what's one of the most insane times you've been out in the surf? Like, obviously, you know how to read the surf. You're pretty capable in the water. Have you ever been out there and you're like, this is a bit how you're going? Because I've spoken to Daryl and he's spoken about froggies before, and he's like, it sweeps you around and you need to swim back.
You need to swim hard.
Hard.
I mean, again, a cyclone swell can get pretty dodgy sometimes, particularly with the sweep. A lot of it's psychology, though, and I think if you get in a bad mindset because something bad's happened to you out there, it's not going to be a good surf. Oftentimes, we will be out the back at the Gold Coast, and where we surf, there's actually a man-made reef there, which attracts plenty of the local sharks and various things like that. And there's been times that various people have been tapped on the leg and things like that, and I don't like that. and a lot of the Goldie sliders will tell you, I don't like that. And that's the sort of thing that psychs me out, is when it's just that grey day. The water is just got no colour in it, and it's just foamy and white water, and then all of a sudden someone goes, what's that? And I go, I don't want to know. And then often I'll hear someone say, oh, see you later, Hamish. And then
because there's no second chances on the Gold Coast. Really, the sharks are bred big up there, and they want to eat.
There's a few bull sharks around.
Especially you get down around the Kingscliff area and the entrances to those, the canals. It's not fun.
Wouldn't want to play around with them,
What's the biggest wave you think you've ever gone?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you a small wave boy or a big wave boy?
I'll go some big waves. Yeah, I'll go out and have fun. Look, it's really hard to tell on the Gold Coast, because when it is a big surf, the surf is breaking 300 metres out from the beach. So to look at it from the beach's perspective, and particularly when you take a photo on your phone, it looks tiny. And when you actually get out there...
Is this one of those things where it's like we've seen in the past and it's like, it's 6 foot, it's pumping, and we get a picture and it's like about
There were some
2
jokes
foot.
running around.
The metric system's a bit different in Queensland.
It's an hour delay. That's the problem. No, there were some jokes running around that the Gold Coast didn't have any big waves. I think the main problem is we don't have any wave photographers.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's the problem.
As you know, taking a photo on your iPhone, anything past 3 meters away from you is going to be pretty average in terms of trying to see the wave size and things like that. And when it is a big swell, as I said, you'd be 300 meters out the back, and you don't get a proper perception of how big it is until you've actually paddled out there. So yeah, I don't really know what the wave size would be, but probably in the 10 foot plus range, I'd say. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I think a congratulations is in order, not only for coming 5th at Womp Off in 2019, but you recently got engaged.
Oh, thank you.
Is there going to be any body surfing sort of themes at your wedding?
Well, that's for Ash to decide because she's doing all the planning. She's done a lot of the planning, but yeah, I don't know. I probably not at this stage.
Word of advice, there was a severe lack of body surfing at my wedding and I regret it.
Okay.
You
I'll
had
take
2
that
big
advice.
names rock up, some drop-ins.
Yeah, there were some drop-ins.
Ooga and Corey were there.
They're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, I didn't invite them.
But yeah, did you get engaged this year?
Yeah, it was in June. Yeah, June
2021?
2021. Yep.
Awesome. No COVID baby on the way?
No COVID baby on the way. No.
I'm looking at you. I'm expecting a COVID baby from you as well.
No, not us, mate. No,
Steady Freddy's got you covered.
Steady Freddy does have us covered, but no, Steady Freddy doesn't do any prevention. It's about getting it going.
No, and they make remember the ultra thin 3-pack
the
of
3-pack.
condoms.
The 3-pack.
And Hamish actually got sent a bit of a care pack
in my
from Steady
price pack.
Freddy. Got for being the first Patreon member. Thank you for signing up. Are you enjoying the content that's coming your way on the Patreon?
Of course, I think everyone should sign up. Why not? Support, one thing I heard the other day was support your mates' businesses like you'd support a celebrity that doesn't even know who you are. And that's my motto. And come and support the boys. Help them out.
But in fairness, we are your mates and celebrities.
Of course.
So
A-listers.
Whoa, sorry, buddy. Well, see, that's how A-list we are here, mate. Kicking the mics all around the studio.
do you think we are ever going to win a podcast award?
You don't know if you don't go.
So you've listened to every podcast.
Oh, that Christmas special a couple of years ago might not have been finished, but
Wait, which one was that?
the
Belly Slater one?
The 3 hour long.
Oh, the Bodice 100.
Bodice 100, yeah.
That's all right. That was just like a highlight episode. But
No, I think all the interviews, yeah, I've definitely listened to.
so you would have a good understanding of the podcast. Some days are awful,
well,
and every now and then we're on a roll. And
like some of those Zoom ones were.
The Zoom one. Let's not talk about
We
the
won't
Zoom
remember
ones,
them,
mate.
but yeah.
So yeah, we actually the first year we did the podcast, we applied, and it actually cost money to apply. So we didn't apply this year because we didn't do heaps of podcasts because of COVID. We're thinking about having another crack
Why
next
not?
year.
Let's go for it. I say let's because I'm involved now.
Do you listen to this?
Our newest member.
This could be an award-winning podcast. We could just send this one to the judges.
Yeah.
Do you listen to any other podcasts?
Couple very different podcasts. I used to listen to a lot more when I was commuting into Brisbane regularly, so I'd be on the train for 2 hours and listen to a lot then. Kind of scaled back a little bit. I listened to a bit of comedy sort of stuff, but yeah, not a huge amount anymore.
What comedy ones do you listen to?
I do like Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
He can be a bit...
Didn't he get cancelled though?
get
So he's
cancelled.
just doing podcasts now.
He's doing a fair bit of different stuff, but it's some funny gear. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It pops up on
fair
my
enough.
TikTok sometimes, and I go,
Oh, look, fair enough.
I don't know if I should be watching this. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think he's coming back a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Do you listen to any Australian podcasts?
I listen to the Matt and Alex All Day Breakfast
Oh yeah.
fairly regularly. I was
Yeah.
a big listener when they were on Triple J.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Triple J anymore. but listen to them.
Let's sledge Triple J.
Let's do it. No.
There's nothing wrong with Triple J.
There's so much wrong with Triple J.
I've been their biggest fan for years. I've never said a bad word about Triple J.
The best thing was one year they were doing the Hottest 100, so captive audience, the biggest day of radio for them. And they had about a minute or two of dead air. And my mate goes, "Oh, this is what I voted for, silence."
The sound of silence.
Yeah, the sound of silence. Yeah. It's a tough game, radio. Tim. You know, like it's not easy. There's a lot of filler out there, and most of it is on this podcast, and we're contributing to that. And you know, only the premium podcasts get the awards.
Do you listen to 4BC?
Don't.
Neil Breen on doing the breakfast show?
I do not. Do not.
Oh, they should win. They could win an award. They've got a good captive
Definitely.
audience.
Oh, do you listen to? Oh no, he's now in Melbourne, but Nick Cody was up your way doing.
I don't listen
Breakfast.
to much
See,
radio.
yeah.
I'm a Spotify.
I like going to different states or cities or towns and listening to the local stations and seeing who's on, and it's always like an up and comer, and they'll be living in like Melbourne or Sydney, and they're just doing it down the line.
In the Gold Coast, yeah. There's not much going in the Gold Coast. I think we get all the kind of national AM and PM, and then in the middle of the day, good luck.
So, Hamish, as our number one Patreon member,
Yep.
we're coming up towards the end of the year, and we've got the big raffle.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you got to be in it to win it.
You do.
Hamish has 7 raffle tickets
7.
in the draw. So your odds are pretty good. There aren't too many other $7 members. That's
I like the sound of that.
Here's the thing, Tim. You can only get a maximum of 7 tickets.
unless you sign up multiple
I
times.
could get a couple more
Oh,
accounts.
a couple more emails.
Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I may be at
work
hotmail.com. Might be getting the work out.
That's a very good gag from our younger years, Tim, that no one is going to get except for you and me.
Just for us.
Yeah, just for us. And the one person that is
in
not
jokes.
listening to this.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do stuff for you. Sometimes we do it just for us.
Keep it in the family.
Anywho, we got the $7 membership.
Ash could sign up as a member.
I'll get her to sign up.
Yeah.
Why not? Yep. I'll sign her up.
So we've got we've only got 7 days, Tim, before.
Ooh.
So this is the last podcast before the big one. It's the big giveaway next week. The Bodysurf Breakfast Show.
Yeah. The
Right?
Bodysurf Podcast Breakfast Show with Tim and Owie. We should make up like a fake name for our network so we can be like, you're listening to something FM.
Yeah, that's good. We could do that. We
Just
could,
to have a call sign.
Yeah.
Barrel Face Network.
yeah, a bit of You paid for one time, didn't you? With the Tim Owie and Shaker.
Oh yeah, I've got a dirty version of that, so we're talking over it. I actually emailed them. It's Abe's Audio. These guys are amazing, and they probably should help us out a bit. They're pretty reasonably priced. You can get voiceovers, and they do all that sort of stuff. They put a little thing together for us a while ago. We'll need to get some production happening for this. The Bodysurf Breakfast Show on the Barrel Face Network.
From 6 a.m.
The
6 till-
BFN.
But the big reason we're talking about this show next week is that we're giving away the prize, Timmy,
Yep,
the big
yep.
end of year prize. Now at the moment it's like just Hamish has got tickets. No, we got a few other people that have got tickets as well, and I know that we shouldn't use you as the salesman, Hamish, because you want to win the prize,
Yeah.
right? But I need you. I need you here. We need you to just tell people why they should sign up to the Patreon.
All right.
And we might edit a little. Like we can edit this. We'll chop it together.
All right. Come down to the Bodysurf Podcast and jump on the Patreon for only $7 a month. That'll get you 7 raffle tickets into the biggest draw of the year, the end of year draw with the Bodysurf Podcast. Get your raffle tickets on patreon.com/the Bodysurf Podcast, I assume.
Mate, that's up there with Nick Brabant's Porto live read. And that was all improvised.
Completely.
$7 is for the Bodysurf, the Bodcaster Pro. That's what you are. You're a Bodcaster Pro. Then there's the Tickler for $5. Then there's the Grom for $3.
As far as I'm concerned, it's $7.
Yeah.
It's $7.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
that's a fair price. And it's only monthly. And a lot of the time Patreon takes it out in US dollars. It's in Australian dollars as well. So if you're listening overseas, that's probably like 43 cents or something like that.
Here's a tip for those who are thinking about becoming a Patreon member. It's all the same. If you're first tier, second tier, third tier, you get exactly the same content.
But it's not. You get more tickets.
The only difference is the ticket.
Yes.
The tickets and the gear. You get the gear if you're the big member. Timmy sends you out Timmy's prize pack, Timmy's tools.
And it's a good one at that.
Do you want to know what the prize for the big giveaway is?
I would like to, yeah.
Now, the major prize is a slide handboard.
Ooh.
But Owi's not going to tell us what it is.
No, I can't tell you, mate.
So you may already have it.
I may.
So you might be able to do the double up.
Or it may be a new one.
Or
Who
it
knows?
could, or, yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I know. I've only heard whispers about this. Executive producer Wolfo's messaged me about it a few times. I think it's something that most people wouldn't have already. I think it's a rare bad boy. It's an exclusive bad boy. It's going to be really, really fun to win. We're also chucking in there a War Badfish. We're also chucking in some tray boards.
Ooh.
Have you got any trays?
I do not have a tray.
Ooh, that would be nice
I'd like
to win.
Get a tray, yeah.
What else are we chucking in there?
A few more bits and bobs.
Some merch.
Yeah, a bit of merch.
You got some merch.
I did.
And so one of
the
the
first piece of merch, which is a Bodysurf Podcast mask, face mask,
the first ever mask.
custom as well.
That's good.
Oh, Steady Freddy. That's actually like worth the most.
Yeah.
So 2 sprays of Steady Freddy that retail for I think $150.
Wow.
So that's $300
There you go.
right there with Steady Freddy.
And the biggest one of all, Timmy, a pair of Bodysurf Podcast keels.
Yeah.
I've been seeing things online.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Have you seen it? How did you see that?
I haven't seen them in full yet. I've been seeing
Oh,
snippets.
someone teased
There's been some
it.
teasers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did see that.
Yeah.
I'm a bit concerned about this logo. It looks great, but our faces are on it. So
Look,
do you want our faces
rock
on
the
your
OG,
butt?
I rock the OG bellies, so they're my go-to. So yeah, let's do it.
My face is very close to the butthole. I'm concerned about that and being associated with that.
The more confused you make people on the beach, the better it is, for sure.
Have I ever told you this story, Owie? I went for a surf in Terrigal maybe 2 years ago, and I wore my pink budgies, and I greased myself up with sunscreen, and I went for a bit of just a stroll around to check out, get a sausage roll or a bacon and egg roll, or just to get a milkshake and just check out the scene before I jumped in the water. And I was ridiculed. They're not big fans
No.
of the budgies.
No,
Really?
it's not real big budgie territory up on the
Should
Central
just come up
Coast.
to the Gold Coast. Anything goes.
Yeah. Well, I know that, but see,
There's a couple of fairly leathery old men that walk up and down the beach just wearing budgies every single morning. So you'd never know. That could be a retirement plan.
That would be Owie and me in like probably 5 years, to be honest. But yeah, I was shocked. I thought we were all, body positive now, embracing everything.
I
No.
don't see a problem with it.
see, the Central Coast is still like 15 years behind Sydney. Like, really, it is. Like, house prices, fashion, racism, like all those things that we hold
Budgie
near and
acceptance.
dear. Yeah,
Whatever
near
you
and
do,
dear.
don't tell them that Chandler and Monica get together and
Yeah, they
friends.
don't know yet.
They haven't got it
No,
there.
they haven't got it, right?
Spoilers.
People are still buying like a pre-mixed alcohol, like en masse.
Yeah.
Like that, because that just
$4.50.
yeah,
or-
like little fat lambs. I'm like that went through a long time ago, right? But now here in Sydney we don't have that anymore. But on the Central Coast, it's still operating like the early 2000s, Tim. So I'm not surprised that you were ridiculed. So
Well, Hamish, thank you very much for being our final guest for the year 2021. It's been a doozy. Thanks for making the trek down. And before we go, you're a big fan of the show. This must be a huge honour for you. Would you like to ask Owie or myself any questions?
This is good because, see, people don't often get to ask us questions. So lots of people listen, Hamish, but now you have the opportunity to ask us the questions that people want.
Okay.
Someone asked, what does AMA stand for? Do you know what AMA stands for?
Ask me anything.
Ask me anything, and that's part of the Patreon.
There's been a lot of questions on the Patreon I've seen.
So if you're a Patreon member, you can ask us anything.
Ask me
instead
anything.
of doing it on the Patreon, you can just do it here right now.
I want to know because I know you guys have dabbled in podcasting previously. What's the biggest fail that you've had in podcasting, but in a good way?
Podcasting fails. What about radio fails? Because we did a few radio shows as well. Yeah. I've mispronounced a lot of words. I mispronounced the name of a friend's band. Do you remember this? I called it Arborio.
Boring.
I still don't know the name of the band.
Arbory.
So that was embarrassing, especially because it was a mate.
I think it's not individual, just mess ups, just like the whole show was a failure, which is all of them.
Including this? No. We're doing well.
This one's been a moderate win for us.
Yeah.
We've got a good audience.
Definitely.
We've hit a niche.
Yeah.
We get to do what we love.
Cult following, some would say.
Yeah. But we have done a lot of failures. Yeah. So let's go through them. Official, unofficial Sharkies podcast.
Well, even before that, remember our first episode of Silky Smooth Footy? Someone egged us. We were doing a skit from the side of the road in front of the Sharkies stadium. Someone saw us filming and go, I'm going to go back home, grab some eggs and smash these guys.
I've waited my entire life for this one moment.
Yeah, so we got egged our first ever episode of Silky Smooth Footy.
We should kick it real far back. So
Click Radio.
13, 14-year-olds, we started with Click Radio.
So
on
we actually invented podcasting.
Yeah. Good.
We thought, is there a way to pre-record a radio show? We hit record on a MacBook Pro that you could record your voice on.
Yeah.
So the audio quality was awful.
Underwater.
And then there wasn't any streaming services. So we uploaded the audio to MySpace. MySpace allowed you to do some audio stuff. So you could listen to each episode on MySpace. And this is even if you go back and watch some old Joe Rogans, he's doing a similar thing with webcam and it's a lava lamp in the background. But we predate him.
The OG podcast.
So we were definitely the first podcasters.
Oh, easily the first. And Tim wrote some really solid gags on that. So one of the ones that I remember very vividly was just all off the cuff. It's jokes you write when you're 14. What the joke was, I hate it when you're at a restaurant and you find a hair in your soup.
Yep.
And you go out the back to check who cooked it, and the chef's bald. Very good joke. Yeah. It doesn't get the credit it deserves, but I often think of that joke, Tim, and with fond memories in my heart about how you wrote that. You were 14. You also wrote other great jokes.
That's still my opener.
You wrote the bushfires joke as well. But see, these are part of the fails as well. So we got Click Radio, Silky Smooth Footy, which was a moderate win for us. I really enjoyed the Silky Smooth Footy series. We were just talking about it on an episode that is only going to be released on the Patreon.
Our first Patreon exclusive. And this wasn't a decision we made lightly. We recorded the episode and we go, you know what? This may be best if we keep it to ourselves. So the Patreon's going to get that one.
Yeah, it's getting a super secret episode this week. So join up and you can hear it, exclusive to your ears. But we were talking about... what were we talking about on that, Tim? It was our... so we had Click Radio, Then so our interview with Citizen K.
So, a hip-hop artist out of Canberra.
Yeah.
Him and his brother came in, performed a song live on a community radio station. His brother just won Artist of the Year at the ARIAs. So that was,
Genesis Owusu. We can talk about it. We were hiding it on the podcast. I don't know why we were hiding it, but it's Citizen K and Genesis Owusu.
yeah.
So we gave those two guys their first ever radio play. That's a win. In my book,
that's a big win.
A guy that literally just won Australian Album of the Year at the Arias. We gave his first ever radio play on an actual FM station.
Broadcast. People could listen to it.
People could listen to it.
Yeah.
In that episode, I made a very racist joke.
But I think it earned us the respect from Citizen K because he laughed.
He laughed, but I don't think it would float these days.
No. But it was also making a comment on how white we were.
That's what I was trying to get at. But
Yeah.
you still
Just
probably
didn't
can't
quite
do
make
that.
it. Fair enough.
But you live and you learn, and that's what you're doing when you're podcasting. You're talking a little bit of rubbish here and there, and you know what? We went through.
We did a podcast called, you mentioned it earlier, the official unofficial Sharkies podcast.
Yeah.
We only did like 4 or 5 episodes, but they were all in 2016 when Sharks won the
That was the
premiership.
season,
so
yeah.
we started the podcast not knowing Sharks were going to have a really good season, and we documented like every 4 rounds we would kind of do an episode, and we got some pretty good guests on. We had a bloke from Carlton United Breweries talk about how bad the beer was at Shark Park. We had a sports journalist come on and bag Manly and the referees, and we also would do our own sort of sports betting segment where we would just back Luke Lewis for every single bet, first try scorer,
Fair
all
enough.
that stuff. And it paid off. Luke Lewis had an amazing season and won the Clive Churchill medal.
I mean, if you want to go back and look at one of the Sharkies' most successful seasons, it's probably a pretty good log of history.
But we've got that.
Yeah.
Like, that's ours. Like,
So
we've got a great,
wouldn't call that a fail at all. But
It was kind of a win.
It was
actually.
a good win. Yeah. It's-
And then we had finally the world's shittest.
Yeah.
And that isn't a win. There's one episode of that.
Kicks it off with the name, doesn't
It
it?
does. But if you want to listen to all our content, just Google it. It's still all out there, mate. It's floating in the ether.
You made a good point, and this is probably true with most podcasts we do. The first 45, 50 minutes is woeful, but at the last 5, the last 10, we get into a groove.
True listeners come through and they
that's
get
right.
the gold at the end. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, and another one would be, what are the plans for the pod next year?
Ooh,
Because I know there was a bit of retooling this year, and it seems like there's a lot of big things coming. Are there any sort of plans in the pipeline?
We need to get Wolfo here.
Yeah, I'll give you some behind the scenes goss, right? So we tried using a new system to record like a Zoom interview.
Yep.
It did not go well. We had a lot of technical issues. I don't really want to try it again.
Yeah.
So I really want to get people in the studio. However, there's some really big international guests that probably won't be able to come to Australia for a while. So Woofo is a whiz with the old. We're just going back to basics. I think we'll get some shorter Zoom interviews. We won't do them too long because they can be tedious. And then try our best to get some big names in studio.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I think like in terms of international guests next year, we've got Guy Butcher lined up. So we'll be doing that straight out of the gate. We really want to get Mark Cunningham on. I think we'll be able to do that next year, whether that be if he comes here for Wompoff, because Wompoff is going ahead, but we're not sure what it's going to look like. So either we get Mark Cunningham in studio or even on the beach.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make it to Australia, we'll have to try and do it over Zoom. He just recently did an interview for, is it called Fringe Mag? They release one Bodysurf magazine a year, and they did a great interview with Mark Cunningham. We were actually mentioned in the interview.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Oh, international.
So at least the big dog's aware of who we are.
of
And
course.
hopefully if Wolfo just sends off a little cheeky email, we'll get a thumbs up. So that's the international guest we're going for. Who would you like to get on?
Around here, we definitely need to get Ecto. We need to get the boys from Ecto in, Chris, for sure, and then DMC, Don McCready.
Yeah.
They're the 2 big ticket guys that we still haven't chatted to. We are in talks with, and they're keen to come. I would love to get Shane from Pod. Everyone wants to hear the Shane from Pod podcast because we've been bagging him for so long, and he's running with Wolfo in the car park and so on and so forth. don't know whether that's going to happen. I'd love to see it happen. As for other local guests, Timmy, you know what? Billy Slater said it best when he said, just get Joe Bloggs down the road.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like Pete Killamilla
totally.
from Wampoff,
Yeah.
you know, out in the eastern suburbs.
You'll find someone and they'll have the best backstory, and you would have never considered just going up and talking to a guy on the beach.
There's a few blokes in the Budgie Boys who haven't had a chance to jump on. Sean Cook, I've asked a few times. He's politely said no. But I think we'll twist his arm and get him on the podcast. He's obviously the brother-in-law of Matt Bond.
Yep.
So, Matt Bond is a fan
He was
favourite.
a big get, Matt Bond.
The brother-in-law is even bigger. So that's going to be an exciting one. Have you met our new member, Aaron?
I don't think I have.
He's
no.
a crazy cat. And we might be doing some Patreon-only episodes with him, if you know what I mean, because it's going to get loose. So
Sounds good.
He's up there with, he's got some very crazy conspiracy theories going on about crazy things, and he likes to spoil movies as well. So
I heard about that one, yeah.
Yeah. And sponsor of the podcast, Rapid Oven Cleaning. Mate, just finished up for the year. If you want to get your oven cleaned, you can't. 2021 is done.
Well
He's
done.
booked out.
But 2022,
Big
things for Rapid Oven Cleaning. And you know what? He does a good job, Aaron. He gets in that oven, and I've seen, he did our barbecue. Sean and my barbecue, and I had marinated chicken wings on that thing every week in and week out, and that thing came out looking brand new.
Fantastic.
Rapid Oven Cleaning.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so who would you like to see on the podcast, Hamish?
I think Simon Svensson.
Yeah.
I know that he's pushed back previously, but I know he's got it in him. I know he's because I chatted to him about it, and he doesn't reckon he's got a podcast in him, but I reckon he's got a real good one.
Oh, yeah.
I reckon he's got a real good one.
Would he get vaccinated just to come onto the podcast?
No,
Don't know about that. You might have to do it in Queensland.
where it is sunny.
Yeah,
Of course.
Sunny.
Svensson, I'd like. Timmy, next year for the podcast, we really want to try and work on a few of the ideas moving forward about getting duos to just host the podcast. So we might have a Queensland leg of the podcast where it is you and Svensson.
Might be a bit
That's
loose,
okay.
but
No, that's okay. That's good.
We'll give it a go.
We want loose, you know, and that's where we're moving. So we want people to sign up to the Patreon as well. So we've got lots of content always
there you go.
flowing in.
It's just going to be Patreon content if we host it. So there we go.
Yeah, there you go. And you save the big dogs for the free content.
Sure.
And we'll guide them to you guys. Timmy, we did talk a little bit about what we're going to do for the 100th episode in the hidden episode on our Patreon. But I think we should just bring it to the this is the second last episode of the year.
So, Hamish, we're sitting on about 80 episodes. We're getting close to that 100th episode.
100's a big milestone.
Yeah, and what's interesting, we do a guest pretty much every second week. So every fortnight, Owie and I come on just by ourselves and we talk shit, and then we try and get a guest on every second week. So, that's close to 50 guests, which is pretty impressive. So when we get there, we're thinking of doing a live episode.
Ooh.
Now, we discussed we're going to do it at in Sydney. We've got a great venue. The Chippo Hotel in Chippendale on Abercrombie Street has a great little underground stage and some pretty good audio equipment and things like that. It can probably sit around 50 to 80 people. And we were thinking about doing it there. However, I did pitch the idea to Owie that we might think about doing it at the Entrance League Club. Which is
it's out there.
It's in the Central Coast, about an hour and a half from Sydney. I'm not sure how far it's going to be from
7.5 hours.
7.5 hours from the Gold
That's all right,
Coast.
just a pinch.
I'm just wondering. We don't have a huge fan base in the Central Coast. Where are most of our listeners? Probably
Kookman?
Sydney. Kookman will be front and centre. Yeah, so where would you like to see us do a live episode?
Could we take it on the road?
Do some Vox Pops. I don't know. I think Sydney, because there's I'd say the majority of the fan base probably in Sydney. I think that'd be if you want the diversity of people there. But I don't know if you could put a road trip together. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm hoping that Want Camp this year is a go ahead because I haven't been to one yet.
Oh.
I haven't actually been to one yet. And I think the first one I couldn't get work off because I'd started a new job, and then it's been COVID and the border's been closed. So I'm fingers crossed for this. Might be fairly close to when my wedding is, but that's all right. But fingers crossed that I can get to one.
We'll kind of
sometime
be
soon.
around the 100 episode mark at Womp Camp. So,
And I guess we technically have done live episodes because we always put on a show at Womp Camp and grab a few interviews there. Womp Camp,
it does have its difficulties though there. So maybe somewhere with a bit better acoustics.
Well, I just want somewhere where people can relax, sit down, grab a beer, watch a show. Yeah. And I want to put on a song and dance for everyone, I want to put on a good production, especially if we're going to make people sort of travel to come.
Totally.
Yeah.
what about this, Timmy? Thursday night show, right? On the Womp Camp weekend. So everyone's kind of rocking in on the Friday. They get there the Thursday night. We stay in town somewhere and then we have a little carry on and then everyone goes out Friday. You just take Friday off. The amount of leave that people have saved off, and they go, I can't do it. I can't take Friday. You just take it off, mate. It's one Friday of the year. We'll do a Thursday night show. Friday you've taken off, so you're already lubricated up for the weekend. We get there Friday midday, set up camp, whole weekend of womping. Mate, this thing writes itself.
Good work. Talking about leave, I've taken all of January off. Taken the whole month off because you're right. I've got a heap of leave stacked up. So we've got this weird weather thing happening at the moment. Do you know what it's called?
La Nina.
Yeah.
La Nina.
I thought there was COVID babies were bad. There's going to be a few kids called that because everyone's staying in at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm keen to take all of January off. Work on the podcasts, get everything ready for the new year, but also try and get a bit of a surf in. So let's do a few road trips up and down the coast and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Well,
good.
Hamish, thank you so much for being our final guest of the year on the Bodysurf Podcast. It's such a privilege to have people actually want to listen to what you got to say.
It makes me laugh and smile. So it's good to hear. Yeah.
That's good, Hamish. Yeah. Now, I think you probably will know the sign off.
What sign? What?
So we'll pass it over to you, Timmy. Send him away.
We got to get out of here, do it all again. Well, not for What
in 7 days, we got the Bodysurf Breakfast Show.
We'll be right back in 7 days to do it all again with the Bodysurf Podcast Breakfast Show. But for now,
it's always overhead when you're body surfing.
Yiew.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.